What's going on, guys? New strategy trading right back at you with another live video. Let me say happy Friday to everybody first and foremost. We streaming from my new strategy trading page off of Facebook and YouTube. Before we get started, let's get a like, love, share, and a thumbs up. And today's video is going to be brief. We're gonna talk about. I've actually have a member of New Strategy Trading Team on with me today. Not to really discuss much, besides just to give us a small detail of their progress so far, their success rate so far, what they've learned since they joined New Strategy Trading Team, stuff like that. Just because I like to give the viewing audience a chance to kind of get a glimpse on the inside of how I do things as far as when I'm teaching, not just trading for myself, but also teaching other people how to trade too. It kind of makes things a little more clear. So I want to introduce one of the newest members of New Strategy Trading, Eb. If you want to just say hi to the viewing audience real quick.
Peace, family. Peace.
Peace to everyone. We also have the Cash Kids course that we just started, which is basically financial education for children. Because one of the big things that I push and try to talk about and discuss a lot is why financial education is not taught in schools. It's one of the biggest money-making machines for the industry itself, and yet when we go to school, we're only taught work, go to school, get a job, work, save your 401k, work for 30 years, 40 years, retire, and hope that you can live long enough to enjoy your retirement while you have worked for a company and you've made this company probably millions and millions and billions of dollars, and you have made pennies. So this is one of the things that we really stress in New Strategy Trading team. So Eb and I and my nieces have already started. We're starting a new class for the Cash Kids. We want to try to keep the kids at least, in a group setting, because children seem to be more interested and learn better when they're amongst their peers. So exactly. We got that. So we got that going on, and just want to give some updates on some moves. We had a really good week, great week. Eb had an excellent week, a great start to things, and we just want to get right into the meat and potatoes of it real quick. We also want to give a detailed analysis of the condition of the market, the stock market, and the crypto market. All right, because if people, y'all been watching my last video, you'll know that I've already said that I had already sold about 75% of my cryptocurrency. All right, so we'll do an update on that. But as far as today, live action today, right now, right here, this is, of course, your Starbucks chart. Let me blow my screen up. We just got out of this move, actually. We shorted Starbucks, actually. This is a weekly chart of Starbucks. Okay. And we bought some puts of Starbucks yesterday before the market closed. Let me. Okay. Let me pull up this trade ticket for. Okay. This is my sale, and this is something that I always tell people. A lot of people you see, and we were just talking about this earlier, but you see a lot of people. There's a lot of scam artists out here. There's a lot of scam artists out here that will do all kind of subtle things to try to convince people that they have this financial knowledge that they are filthy rich, that they can make you filthy rich. How I made, 10 grand in 1 week doing this, and any of those are red flags. You don't want to anybody boosting and bragging about um about money and flashing jewelry and cars and mansions and all this. Those are more than likely people you don't want to be studying up under. Not saying it's not good to have things, but it's just a little. It's more of a rapper lifestyle. If this was rapping or something, yeah, you want to go for those types of guys. But in this industry, the guys with the most money, they're gonna have on Walmart clothes. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be old men with Walmart clothes in this industry that gonna have more money than you could ever thought a person could
with
have.
calluses on their hand.
Yes, absolutely. So anyway, let's get into this. This is actually the trade ticket, and I always post my trade tickets. A trade ticket is basically proof that you have bought or sold a security, which is a stock or a cryptocurrency or whatever, right? And the trade ticket is real important to know this, right? Equity is the amount of money in the trade. Amount is how many contracts or shares you have, right? This 268, we did options. So this is the strike price when we sold, right? Average cost is the strike price we bought in. So this one particular contract was bought for $141 and sold for $268. That's what that means. This is called the strike. I mean, this is the bid, or different people call it different things. You could call it the strike price. You bought, well, not necessarily the strike price. The strike price would be where, like the 101 strike price I think we had on this. It was a 101 put. Let's see. Share price. Well, no, it was at 121 when this was sold. But this is called this is the option itself. This is the the bid and the ask, the limit price. You set the limit price at the average cost is how much you pay. This decimal, $1.41, is really $141, because in options you have 100 shares for one option contract. So this means it was bought at 141 and sold at 268. You see, then it says field, order field and all that. That's how you know that this is a real trading ticket. So a person can pull up stuff from off the internet and make you think it's one of their trade tickets, but you have to show, okay, where did you buy it? What the chart? Where was it at? If you look at the bottom, the share price was at 121 when this was sold, right? Starbucks is now at 110, and we purchased these yesterday. It was about 102, 102.50, maybe one around, a little higher than that, somewhere around there. That's where we bought in at. Our target was 100, and it actually made a low of like $99.80 something. So that was a really good trade. That was a really good short swing trade. It was really a day trade, but I don't really like to call it a day trade because Starbucks may not have started dropping until Monday. You see, we may have had to sit in this over the weekend, but we didn't. So being that we bought yesterday and sold today is technically considered a swing trade, because a day trade is when you buy and sell within the same day. But if you count the fact that we bought at the last minutes of the market and sold at the early minutes of the market, it really is a day trade. If the market never would have closed, this would have been completed, you see. So the terminologies really don't matter, but I switched to the daily chart, right? And what let us know that, let me explain this too. Why did we short Starbucks? All right. We shorted Starbucks back here yesterday as it was doing something that we were literally patiently waiting on it to do. Keep in mind, we initially, Eb, if you remember, we initially took this position to go up.
Yes, indeed.
Remember that?
Yes, indeed.
And why did we get it to go up? Because it had dropped here. This hammer pattern here with this big volume on October 29th, 2021 made a low of 104, right? Then it went up and just started going sideways. When it dropped down to this support, automatically you're supposed to buy that first test of the support. It's called first test of resistance and first test of the support. The reason it was such a good buy is because if we bought right here at the low, so I think we might have bought in at like 104.20 or 30 and set our stop loss for like 103.90, 20-30 cents was all that we was risking, because all we needed it to do was drop just a little bit below that line for us to know that it wasn't going to go up. It was going to keep going down to that line or that support area. So here we have support 1. And then here we have support 2. Now we know what support is. Support and resistance is. It represents certain areas of price action, meaning when it dropped at this line and then went up, this price low of 104 became the support. So we're expecting the first technical analysis, the basic fundamentals of technical analysis say that the first test of a support is bullish. So you wait, you get in at that low and you set your stop loss right below it, just right below it. And as you can see on this day here, January 12th is when it went below the line. We got out. We followed our rules, took a very small loss. May have been 15 or 20 bucks loss. And then we turned right around yesterday and got right back in Starbucks, but we reversed our position from bullish to bearish and purchased option puts, meaning that when the price drops down to this next support, we make money. And literally woke up this morning to this big, beautiful forming red bar and already have reached our target of $100, a price target of $100 with an entry at 102.50. See, that is a precise $2.50 move. Boom, just like that. We knew our target. As soon as it hit our target, we sold. That's it. Quick, and this is how you do it with options. Options is more short term. Now, this was our target. It broke support 1. Boom. Next target, support 2. Now, this is actually the place where I believe that Starbucks will hold support at. Let me show you why. Let me zoom back on this. Actually, let me go to the weekly so we can see it better. And what we'll do, Ed, we'll archive this video and we'll do an addition because it's I'm dropping some jewels. So we'll archive this one and let the Cash Kids go over it as well. Okay. Because they already familiar with the basics of support and resistance. Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So here now you can see a little better on the weekly chart, right? This is when in 2019, between January and July of 2019, when Alibaba made a huge price run. I mean, you can just see this green trend, all these big green bars just boom. Beautiful. And then it reached this high right here 100,
Mm-hmm.
99.68, 99.71, 100 area. Then it went down and did a big correction. Of course, then coronavirus hit the next year and it dropped big. Then it recovered, right? Once it broke back above this, what was resistance, let's write this here. This is resistance. Right? This is resistance because it's a ceiling. When it hits the ceiling, it falls to the ground. The ground is the support. The ceiling is the resistance. Once Alibaba started to rebound Alibaba. Once Starbucks started to rebound after coronavirus, it did something interesting on this week, November 30th, 2020. It broke that resistance. Boom! Broke straight through the ceiling. It did not respect the resistance. It went through the roof like an elevator going up that won't stop. Like on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. One of my favorite childhood movies.
Mine too.
Yeah, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Right.
It exploded, boom, through the roof. The elevator did. Then it went back down and briefly tested it. And guess what happened after it went back down? Boom, it went back up. So now this resistance in 2019 is now our support. Okay. This level here, with this big, the low of this bar was our first support. It broke that. Boom. So we shorted, made money. Now it's approaching our second support. The same thing applies. Starbucks can do one or two things. It's not rocket science. It can bounce off of this support and go back up. It can bounce off of this support and go back up, or it can break below it. And it really doesn't matter which one it does.
Mm-hmm.
Because here at New Strategy Trading, we play the market both ways.
Oh my goodness.
We play it both ways. All right. We don't discriminate.
I can testify to that.
Yes. Because when it might seem confusing to a novice trader. Like, wow, hold on. We was just in Starbucks to go up. Now we in it to go down. What's going on? You confused? No, I'm not confused. I know exactly what I'm doing, and it's all based on the chart, guys. This is the whole purpose. The charts are your guide. GUIDE. They tell you what to do, when to do it, when to buy, when to sell, when to expect a rally, when to expect a decline.
It's the patterns.
It's the patterns. This is actually a pattern on Starbucks. Yep. This is called a head and shoulders pattern.
Yep.
Shoulder, head, shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Boom!
3 points.
3 attempts to make a high. In fact, let's demonstrate head and shoulders pattern. Because I like to give demonstrations.
Yes, I was just watching this. Look, I fell asleep watching this last night.
Really?
Yes.
That's good. Same thing right here, guys. Head and shoulders pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Basic. This is probably one of the most powerful topping patterns as far as bearish topping patterns, meaning that the security is going to decline, drop in technical analysis. You got head and shoulders, double top, and triple top, which is really the same thing as a head and shoulders. Head and shoulders represents when a stock or a security attempts 3 times to make a high and fails. Most of the time, the head is higher than the shoulder, and it represents the silhouette of a human person. Your shoulder, your head, and your other shoulder. Now, the buy point is when it breaks either one or two places, the right shoulder or what they call the neckline connecting both lows of the shoulder, which is nothing but a trend line.
That's a downtrend.
That's all it is. Yes, that's all it is. And as soon as it came and broke below that trend line, boom, it went sideways for a little bit, then just started to tank. Tank, 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 tank. All right, let's show an example of another one. You see, that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yes, it is. And it's going to look like that on all the charts. The patterns are the same.
The patterns are the same on Bitcoin chart, on gold chart, on silver chart, on Apple chart, or any other chart. That's the beauty about technical analysis. If a person comes to me and say, hey man, I heard about such and such company, what do you think about it? Oh, what's the symbol? What's the company name, the symbol? Okay, let me go pull up my chart. Give me a couple minutes and I'll tell you what's going on here. That's it. It is what it is. It is our navigation system in the financial markets. All right, now look at this pattern. Boom, shoulder, head, shoulder, broke line, boom. That's where you buy. That's where you buy.
Look at that.
Starbucks. Let's look at Starbucks. Look like Starbucks is breaking that support as we speak too, guys. This is live. This is live. We are live. This is Friday. The market is open. Starbucks is breaking below that support. This is your first shoulder. Boom. This is your head. This is your second shoulder. See that?
Yes, indeed.
What they call the neckline, we'll call it support one.
Okay.
Soon as it broke support one, what did we do?
Went down.
We bought. I mean, we bought a put. We short. We shorted it. That don't mean that. So this support line or this neckline is important. Okay. Look at this pattern: shoulder, head, shoulder. Boom! Look at this big red bar forming right now. Look at this big volume bar forming right now. Starbucks has got to the end of today to do one thing and one thing only, to convince me that this is going to go back up, because the pattern is complete. Therefore, the odds of the pattern continuing down is strong, right? As swing traders, we achieved our objective of making a large profit, altogether almost $300. Well, actually, hold on, more than that altogether, in literally minutes this morning. But if Starbucks does not pull all the way back up, at least I want to see it at least up in this range. I want a hammer pattern is what I want. I want a long wick at the bottom.
At the bottom, yeah.
Right. It can recover. It can recover and turn back up and close high at the end of the day. This would be on a weekly bar. If it does that, then this head and shoulders would be a failed pattern. If it closes where it's at right now, if it closes below that line with this big fat red bar, we'll go back in and short this thing again.
Okay.
You see, but today is in the middle of the day, so you don't want to touch it yet until the market starts to close, because it can fluctuate during the middle of the day. But technically right now, it is breaking below. Look at where it's at, 99.36, as we've been talking.
Sure is.
You see?
35.
You see? So this was a really, really good play. Really good play. So we're going to be watching this for the remainder of the day to let us know what it's going to do. Now, we can also go to the markets real quick. Let's go to the daily chart on the market. It's the S&P 500. It's catching support at this trend line.
Uptrend.
Yep. It's down. It's down today, but it's still in an uptrend. And it's approaching these lows of this trend line. See, when we connected these two dots, boom, on the 10th, it hit it and rallied. Now it's going back to test it. If it finds support here, if it finds support and keeps it and holds it, it'll go back up. But if it breaks below that line, that black trend line, its next target is 454. If it breaks below that, it's going to keep going down. All right, that's the S&P 500. The Dow, same thing pretty much. The Dow is testing support at 356. It's hovering right above that support at 356. The NASDAQ or the Qs is doing something interesting because it already tapped below the trend line here, but rallied back above it, but now it's breaking back below it, which is odd because usually when it breaks below it, it'll continue lower, but instead it did that, rose above it. It's a mixed market right now. It's a mixed market, but it does look like it may go back down to this line to test that low. Then you do have, if you look at the chart, this is the daily now. You do have a lot of big red bars in this area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big red bars in this area. And yesterday was a really big red bar, and now it's just hovering right below yesterday's low. Usually when it does that, it's a sign that it's failing to pierce yesterday's low. It's failing to go up and break above its high. It can't actually. If we zoom in and we look at this wick, it tried to this morning. It rallied strong this morning, went up to about 380. Now it's back down to 376. So if we switch over to the weekly to get another view, big red bars on this weekly chart with a break below the trend line. Break below that black line. Big red bar last week. This week it tried to break the high. It tried to go back into that red bar of last week, and it failed. So this week's bar is like an exhaustion pattern. But it's still sitting at that support. So it's in between a zone to, but I think it's going to keep going down next week. It may or may not. It's in kind of in a tricky zone. Like it broke this trend line, but it's at this support. So it's like, But then you had these big red bars. But due to the fact that where these stocks are acting, I think it's going to continue to drop next week. It's a lot of red action. If you go to the monthly, and this is why we was talking yesterday, just to give a little everybody a little advice or a little information. We talked about these wide and narrow, or these these states where the market have gone up and it's way far away, spread out from the moving averages. This is the Dow. Right? This is after Corona. This is the 1 month chart. So each one of these bars represent a month. It's extremely extended. It's not at a point to where I would tell somebody to put, their life savings into the stock market. It's not at that point because it's already had a big run. And it's far from the 20 and far from the 200 moving averages. So taking a break, coming down here, a good crash would be good for the market, actually. Because imagine people who bought this Corona crash back here around $186. The Dow hit a low of 182. Even if you bought between 182 and like 250, it's at 357 now. And this is just the futures, the ETF, the SPDR, Dow Jones Industrial Average ETF. So you've been eating for 2 years. The market's been going up for the past 2 years. So it is time, it could take a break. So we're not heavily invested in the stock market. We trade the stock market for profit. Most of our profits from the stock market will go into Bitcoin. Patiently waiting on the proper time. That's all. When the time comes, trust me, New Strategy Trader will give you guys a heads up. All right, so let's move to Taiwan Semiconductor, which was our big game for yesterday.
Yes.
Yes, that was the big one right there. This is Taiwan Semiconductor, and Taiwan. Let me send something real quick. Taiwan, actually, we played on an earnings move, and I'm not going to go into detail about the earnings, what earnings is and all that, but we played an earnings move on Taiwan Semiconductor, and we hit big. The earnings came out good, and we made a really big profit in 24 hours. Guys, don't get it misconstrued that New Strategy Trading is a day trading service or a day trading. We're not day traders. Do we day trade? Of course, when the opportunity presents itself. But predominantly, most of our focus is on moderate term or intermediate term to long term. So these short term are just for short term trades for quick income. But for to build wealth, for financial freedom, most of this is going into Bitcoin. All right, so let me show. This is the option order when I bought into Taiwan. Which says filled, submitted January 12th. Good for day at 218, $218. And they got filled January 12th, 2020 at 12:34 p.m. So if you a lot of people, like I say, they'll show like they'll go to these pictures on the internet or screenshot something that says, up 5,000, up 1,000, whatever, the only way to really know if a move has been made is with these trade tickets. That's it. So we bought at 218, limit price, 218, right? On contract at 218, and then sold I sold mine, filled, option order filled, submitted January 13th. Limit price of 620. Whew! That was nice right there now. Position effect closed on January 13th at 8:30. Soon as I got out of mine, as soon as the market opened. Now, Eb hit for $100 more than me. She stayed in a little bit longer. But the fact of the matter is, guys, we had a good trade. We had a great trade.
Indeed.
Yeah, that was a great trade. The reason, a bunch of reasons why I knew Taiwan was going to go up on the earnings announcements, all in the charts. It has some good pullbacks. Some good breakouts here. Boom, boom, boom. Pulled back on the 6th and the 7th to the support area. This let me know when it broke above that support area, it was going to keep going up. And so I didn't even realize that the earnings was getting ready to come out. When I realized the earnings was getting ready to come out, I know that Taiwan is a big mover on earnings. And we got in right here at 130.54, and literally the next morning, boom, it shot all the way up. And it actually is breaking new highs. If we go to the weekly chart, boom, that's a breakout. It broke out on earnings. It's at all-time highs right now. It's a cup. This is a cup without a handle. It's just a regular cup pattern. You have a cup that'll make a handle.
See it.
Yeah, but this is just a regular cup. Boom.
Okay.
Now it could pull back and make a handle. So we're gonna wait, but this is something that we're gonna be heavily after. If I'm thinking it probably will pull back with the market next week. Even though the market is down, but Taiwan today is up still $3.50. The market is down. So we're going to wait on it to pull back because it shot up real big. We're going to let it fill in that gap. It's going to come down, fill in that gap, fill in that small gap, let the moving averages get back tight like there was back here. And this would be another trade for us. But those were some really good trades. But before we close out, Ep, how do you feel about your progress so far? Are you learning? Is this super difficult? Are you catching on? Are the charts hard to read? Just briefly, how do you feel about that?
I feel like I'm still a student, of course, but I'm doing my due diligence to learn as much as possible. You put it in layman terms, so it's pretty comfortable where you
Right.
can grasp it really quickly.
Right.
But you do have to do your own work outside of what you teaching if you really want to grasp it as quickly as possible. But I love
Exactly.
your teachings. I love this week. I mean, we had some major moves and major gains, and it's really successful. So I'm happy. I'm a happy client.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. And guys, we're not even going to get into Bitcoin because I said I'm not going to even post about Bitcoin. I made that decision. I'm not going to post anything or make another video about it until I feel that it's time to do it. I think that Bitcoin may keep correcting. I ain't saying it's going to crash or nothing, but it may stay in this correction process for a while. It needs it. Last year had a phenomenal year. Of course, we keep a certain percentage of Bitcoin that we would never, ever, ever sell. But when we get ready to dump back into it in a major way, then we will let you guys know. Hey, enjoy your Friday. Have a good weekend. New Strategy Trading signing out, and we will see you guys again.
Team
Subscribe to
New
my YouTube.
Strategy.
Oh yeah, New Strategy. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Like us on Facebook, and send us an inbox if you have any questions. New Strategy Trading also at yahoo.com if you need to send an email. All right. Enjoy your weekend, guys. New Strategy Trading signing out.